What if I told you that some of the most nutritious, resilient, and productive crops you could possibly grow aren't hiding in expensive seed catalogs or specialty nurseries, but were thriving in your great-grandparents' backyards during the Great Depression? Most people don't know this, but while we're spending hundreds of dollars at grocery stores and garden centers, there are 21 crops that our ancestors grew that literally plant themselves, multiply for free, and outperform anything you can buy today in both nutrition and flavor. I've been growing these forgotten varieties for over 2 decades, learning from my grandmother's weathered hands and her Depression-era notebooks. Modern research from universities like Cornell, Oregon State, and Kentucky State has now confirmed what she always knew. These aren't just historical curiosities. They're nutritional powerhouses that University Extension Services are calling the original food security crops. Wait until you hear about number 11, ramps, the wild leeks that sell for $20 a pound at farmers' markets, but spread into colonies that feed you for decades from a single planting. And number 21 is going to blow your mind. It's a native fruit tree that produces custard-like fruit with more vitamin C than oranges, and compounds that laboratory studies show can fight cancer cells. If you want to learn the forgotten secrets that kept families fed for free while building true food security in your own backyard, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I share these generational growing secrets every week that the seed companies definitely don't want you to know. So let's get into it. Here are 21 crops your great-grandparents grew that could feed you for free today, ranked from useful to absolutely life-changing. Number 1. Dill. The herb that drops seeds and returns uninvited. In 1932, when pickle barrels cost families a week's wages, great-grandparents let dill bolt on purpose. Its umbels dropped thousands of seeds per plant, enough to flavor a year's worth of cucumbers for free. University of Minnesota extension records from Victory Gardens show one Depression diary recounting a single row yielding dill for pickling many quarts, saving money per family. Modern research confirms dill's carvone compounds provide superior flavor compared to store-bought dried dill, making home-canned salmon taste ocean fresh. Here's the pro move my grandma swore by. Skip thinning seedlings and instead pinch the top growth tip with your thumbnail on a cloudy afternoon when they hit 6 inches, forcing side shoots to bush out while roots dive deep for drought-proofing. Agricultural trials show this technique can boost seed set over standard spacing. Think of it as nature's own spice factory that's been waiting for you to stop buying those expensive little bottles. Number 2. Calendula, the saffron substitute that blooms forever free. During the 1929 crash, families swapped calendula petals for saffron at a fraction of the price. Petals dyed and flavored rice like the real stuff, with one plant yielding many blooms yearly. Its flavonoids provide antioxidants, all from a packet that reseeded eternally. European food research studies show dried petals pack significant beta-carotene. The reason calendula got forgotten is simple. Saffron importers lobbied against these substitutes, while flower companies pushed sterile hybrids that couldn't self-seed. Here's the insider secret. Pinch the central bud at 8 inches tall in summer, then scatter the nipped tips as mulch around the base. This confuses the plant into extended blooming, increasing petal harvest per Washington State University trials. Think of it as your personal gold mine that's been hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to discover nature's saffron. Number 3. Barrage, the cucumber-leaved pollinator magnet. Grandma's 1935 notebooks show borage-edging tomato rows, improving fruit set via nectar that drew many bees per plant daily. During rationing, it fed families young leaves as poor man's cucumber at zero cost, with gamma-linolenic acid levels rivaling evening primrose oil. UC Davis pollinator studies confirm its bee-attracting power. Don't deadhead. Let first blooms fade, then bury the wilting flower heads where they drop, using a trowel to mix in a handful of wood ash. This sparks underground growth that multiplies plants by fall, as proven in Rodale Institute perennial herb trials. Cornell sensory panels found leaves infused in vinegar create a cucumber essence superior to hydroponic store versions. Think of it as a living pollinator paradise that's been waiting for you to unlock your garden's full potential. Number 4. Sorrel, the tart perennial that self-seeds like clockwork. During the 1930s Dust Bowl, when citrus prices soared, a significant expense for many, sorrel gave that bright lemon zing for free, with oxalic acid levels packing vitamin C according to USDA nutrient data. French peasants called it herbe aux sorcières for its magical staying power, surviving sieges where other greens failed. Penn State Extension trials reveal the pro move. After the first frost nips the tops, mound composted leaves around the crown, then stomp it firm with your boot. This tricks the roots into bulking up more runners underground through winter, popping up more plants come spring. Oregon State lab tests show mature leaves boiled to neutralize oxalics provide unlimited spinach-like sides, bursting with vitamin C, superior to store-bought. Think of it as nature's vitamin C factory that's been waiting for you to stop buying expensive citrus. Number 5. Lamb's Quarters, the spinach upgrade that volunteers everywhere. Dust Bowl survivors harvested lamb's quarters as wild spinach, yielding significant amounts per acre free, packed with vitamin A and vitamin C, superior to spinach levels. One Pioneer account describes a single patch replacing bought greens for a family all summer. Purdue Extension nutrient analyses show it delivers more protein than spinach with no oxalic acid bite. The reason it got forgotten is simple. Post-war herbicide companies labeled it a noxious weed to sell products, while spinach conglomerates bred temperamental hybrids. Here's what most people miss. When it hits knee-high, snap off the top 4 inches and immediately replant those cuttings shallow side up in thin soil. University of Illinois weed studies show this clones with good success rate via adventitious roots, creating a thicket that smothers grass while amateurs yank weeds and buy seed racks. Think of it as nature's protein shake that's been volunteering in your yard, waiting for you to recognize its value. Number 6. Purslane, the omega-3 weed already growing in your yard. Your great-grandma knew purslane isn't just a weed. It's a nutritional powerhouse that kept families going through the Dust Bowl when meat and fish were luxuries they couldn't afford. This succulent provides more omega-3 fatty acids than any other leafy green, with significant ALA content. Journal of the American Oil Chemists Society confirms purslane's omega-3 content. Here's the insider trick. Don't pull it when it shows up. Instead, pinch off the tips weekly, starting at 4 inches tall to force bushier growth, but leave a few mature plants to drop seed in fall. Purdue University research shows stressing it lightly with no water for a week can increase the stem's omega-3 concentration. USDA data shows it delivers significant vitamin C and beta-carotene. Think of it as your free pharmacy that's been hiding in the cracks of your driveway, waiting for you to stop buying expensive supplements. Number 7. Good King Henry, the Tudor dual crop wonder. This Tudor-era staple from the 1500s fed entire villages through famines, delivering 2 harvests from one plant, tender shoots like asparagus and broad leaves packing iron. English herbalist John Gerard praised it in 1597 as good for the stomach. During the Depression, 1 packet of seeds yielded many plants producing significant amounts annually. The pro move from old-time nurserymen, blanch the crowns in early spring, by mounding soil over emerging shoots for 2 weeks to keep them white and sweet, then harvest every third spear to let the plant bolt into greens. Rodale Institute trials show this increases yield over straight cutting, with blanched stems storing longer in the fridge. Think of it as your personal asparagus patch that's been waiting for you to discover its royal heritage. Number 8. Horseradish, the indestructible root that multiplies from scraps. Great-grandma grated horseradish roots fresh for a fiery condiment that preserved meats without refrigeration, packed with sinus-clearing allyl isothiocyanate, much hotter than store jars. 1 square foot yields significant roots annually, regrowing from kitchen scraps when Depression families couldn't buy condiments. Czech settlers brought it to America in the 1600s, and USDA trials show a single plant expands significantly over years. Here's why it works. Plant root cuttings upside down in spring, with the tip buried shallow to draw energy to thicken the body faster, producing larger roots by fall per Ohio State University Extension. Journal of Agricultural Food Chemistry studies show sinigrin compounds fight bacteria better than antibiotics in lab tests. Think of it as your permanent condiment factory that's been waiting for you to stop buying those weak-jarred versions. Number 9. Egyptian walking onion, the bulbul traveler. Your ancestors called these walking onions because they walked across pioneer homesteads, bulbils dropping to form new plants yearly, yielding many onions per clump. Each cluster sells for significant money online today, but great-grandma got endless supply free, harvesting topset bulbs like shallots with quercetin antioxidants per Oregon State University studies. Let bulbils overwinter on the stalk, don't pick until spring thaw, and replant only the largest per clump. This selects for vigor, increasing production yearly as proven methods show, with bulbils rooting faster in leaf mulch. Montana State Extension confirms higher organosulfur compounds for immunity than hybrid bunching onions. Think of it as your self-planting onion patch that's been waiting for you to let it wander your garden. Number 10. Scarlet runner beans, the protein vine that climbs north. Great-grandma grew these vivid climbers from Native American stock, vines producing significant amounts of protein-rich beans per row, drying to high protein content, superior to potatoes. During the Depression, when meat was expensive, historical trials show 1 vine yields many pods. Soak seeds 24 hours in compost tea, then plant at base of corn by May 15th. No trellis needed as they grip like Velcro, but pinch tips at 6 feet to force side shoots bearing more pods per University of Guelph research. Fresh pods beat green beans for nutty flavor and chew without strings. Dried beans cook creamier than pintos with less gas, rich in folate and iron per USDA data. The reason they got forgotten is simple. Hybrid bush beans dominated canned varieties for factories, sidelining pole climbers that need space and self-seed. Think of it as your vertical protein factory that's been waiting for you to rediscover Three Sisters wisdom. If you're finding value in these forgotten crops, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting to the really amazing ones, including a native fruit tree that produces vitamin C and a root vegetable that sweetened Depression-era desserts without sugar. Number 11. Ramps, the $20 per pound wild leeks. Back in the 1700s and 1800s, Appalachian families and Cherokee tribes relied on ramps as their first fresh food after brutal winters, with one patch feeding families for weeks. During the Civil War, foraging ramps helped prevent scurvy when supplies ran dry. Today, a single pound sells for up to $20 at farmers' markets because they're so labor-intensive to harvest sustainably. Don't plant ramps in full sun or tilled garden beds like onions. Instead, simulate their forest floor home by burying a thin layer of leaf mold over the crowns after planting in late fall, then mulch heavily with oak leaves to mimic hibernation. West Virginia extension trials confirm stronger emergence with undisturbed leaf litter. Ramps pack vitamin C and antioxidants, with sulforaphane compounds fighting inflammation per Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry Studies. Think of it as your woodland treasure that's been waiting for you to create the perfect forest garden. Number 12. Rhubarb, the 50-year pie plant. Your great-grandma's rhubarb patch, planted decades ago, was still cranking out pies years later. That's many years from one crown, producing significant amounts per plant annually. During World War II victory gardens, it fed families when sugar was rationed, with USDA reports noting rhubarb's tartness cut sugar needs in desserts. The real pro move from old-time nurserymen is to force a bonus crop mid-summer by chopping back spent flower stalks at ground level, then piling loose straw mulch around the crowns to cool the roots while watering deeply once a week. University of Minnesota extension tests show this stresses them into a second flush of tender stalks by fall, boosting yield and turning one harvest into two. Food chemistry research highlights its anthraquinones aiding digestion. Think of it as your permanent pie insurance that's been waiting for you to unlock its double harvest secret. Number 13. Asparagus, the 20-year spear factory. One planting in the 1930s fed a family through the Dust Bowl and beyond, yielding 20-plus years with significant amounts per crown annually. Victory Garden records from 1944 show asparagus as the everlasting crop, outlasting wars and recessions with zero replanting costs. The insider hack from master gardeners is to trench plant crowns in a deep furrow filled with compost, but then blanch future crops by mounding hay or clean sand over half the bed annually in year 2. This whitens spears for milder flavor and increases tenderness, as Rodale Institute trials prove higher gourmet yields. Purdue University studies show more folate and antioxidants versus shipped asparagus that loses nutrients in transport. Think of it as your perennial gourmet investment that's been waiting for you to plant once and harvest for decades. Number 14. Skirret, the medieval sugar root. Medieval Europeans and Depression cooks boiled skirret roots for a natural sweetener. Each plant yields significant amounts of sweet tubers, sweeter than potatoes. During the 1930s, it sweetened pies without scarce sugar, with one vine feeding a family through winter from a single start. The Old English trick is to plant crowns in a raised bog bed, mix sand with compost, keep constantly moist but oxygenated by poking weekly with a garden fork to aerate roots. Royal Horticultural Society records confirm this prevents rot and improves tuber quality. Roots boil to a creamy, parsnip-sweet mash superior to carrots in natural sugars. The reason it got forgotten is simple. Post-World War II, sugar subsidies and hybrid carrots flooded markets while skirret's wet soil niche didn't fit monocrop machines. Think of it as nature's candy factory that's been waiting for you to rediscover medieval sweetness. Number 15. Sea kale, the salty soil survivor. Coastal Brits and early colonists harvested sea kale for many years, with plants yielding 20-plus years with significant amounts per crown. During famines, its salty crunch fed seaside poor, valued at markets. The coastal master gardener wisdom is to blanch shoots by covering crowns with a bottomless bucket or clay pot in late winter for 4 weeks. This forces etiolated, asparagus-like blanched stems ultra-tender, increasing harvest as per UK RHS trials. Blanched stems taste like mild asparagus with sea salt built in, leaves like kale but less bitter, rich in glucosinolates per European Journal of Nutrition studies, plus omega-3s from salty adaptation. Modern greens favored quick annuals over this seaside survivor that tolerates salt spray. Think of it as your coastal treasure that's been waiting for you to bring the ocean's resilience inland. Number 16. Quince, the 50-year marmalade tree. Every old homestead had a quince bush out back, turning fruits into jars of glowing marmalade that lasted through the leanest winters. One mature bush could yield significant amounts of fruit a year, according to University of Missouri Extension records. During the Great Depression, families simmered down quince into enough pectin-rich jelly to trade for staples. Here's the growing secret from decades of watching mine thrive. Plant it near a stone wall or south-facing fence where it catches winter sun reflection. Cornell University's pomology trials show quince hates wet feet but loves radiant heat bouncing off masonry, which helps it fruit earlier and increase yields. University of Georgia. Extension notes it's packed with more vitamin C than apples, plus antioxidants, like chlorogenic acid that studies link to better blood sugar control. Think of it as your permanent preserve factory that's been waiting for you to rediscover nature's pectin. Number 17. Sunchokes, the native tuber that multiplies underground. Native Americans up and down the East Coast harvested these knobby treasures for centuries. Tribes like the Iroquois got significant amounts per plant from poor riverbank soil, feeding entire villages through winters when corn failed. Your great-grandparents planted just a few tubers in the 1930s, and by the next fall, they'd have a large patch yielding many pounds. Here's the insider growing secret from my own patch of 20 years. Mound your soil into hills before planting, then cover with a layer of straw mulch mixed with wood ashes. The ashes supply potassium that prevents bacterial wilt, while the hill and straw combo drains excess water and warms roots faster per Ohio State University Extension trials. These beat potatoes hands down. Raw slices crunch like water chestnuts. Roasted, they caramelize into sweet, nutty fries, richer in inulin prebiotic fiber than any store spud, supporting gut health. Think of it as your underground gold mine that's been waiting for you to strike it rich with native wisdom. Number 18. Groundnut, the nitrogen-fixing protein native. Native Americans taught pilgrims at Plymouth how to dig these tubers, boasting more protein than potatoes per USDA nutrient databases, yielding significant amounts per vine that climbed corn like the Three Sisters method. Vines could produce enough tubers for a winter's soup stock, traded among settlers for tools. The pro secret is to inoculate your tubers with cowpea-type rhizobia bacteria from a gardening store before planting. That jumpstarts nitrogen fixation, pulling nitrogen from thin air like alfalfa per University of Illinois Extension trials. Tubers taste like chestnut potato mash when boiled, with more folate and iron than lentils. Journal of Food Composition Studies confirm superior protein content. Lost to history when cash crops like potatoes scaled for factories, while this native couldn't compete with imported beans subsidized by agribusiness. Think of it as your nitrogen-fixing protein mine that's been waiting for you to rediscover pilgrim survival skills. Number 19. Mulberry, the self-seeding berry machine. Your great-grandparents foraged these from fence rows in the 1920s, harvesting significant amounts per tree of juicy berries that made pies when flour was scarce. Berries yielded dye for homespun cloth, and birds spread seeds so every farm had wild ones. The growing secret from my Woods Edge Grove: graft a white fruiting variety like Illinois Everbearing onto wild rootstock in late winter. The hybrid pumps out berries longer into fall, resisting bacterial leaf scorch that affects wild trees, as proven in Purdue University trials yielding more fruit. Berries burst with vitamin C and resveratrol for heart health per Hort Science studies. Eat fresh like grapes. Dry for granola, superior to raisins with no added sulfites, or ferment into wine. Commercial berry farms favor thornless blackberries, easier to pick mechanically, forgetting this self-seeding giant. Think of it as your backyard winery that's been waiting for you to let the birds plant your orchard. Number 20. American persimmon, the native honey tree. Across eastern states, wild persimmons fed frontier families in the 1700s. Captain John Smith noted tribes harvesting significant amounts per acre, fruit so sweet post-frost they replaced sugar imports. The secret wisdom is to score unripe fruits lengthwise with a knife in October and hang in a paper bag with apples. The ethylene ripens them in days without wildlife theft, concentrating sugars sweeter than Asian varieties per Kentucky State University breeding programs. Pudding from pulp outshines canned versions, rich in vitamin A and tannins aiding digestion. Studies in food chemistry show significant beta-carotene. Seeds roast like coffee for a caffeine-free morning brew. Overshadowed by delicate Asian persimmons bred for export, while natives were too astringent raw for modern tastes, ignoring the ripening trick. Think of it as your natural candy tree that's been waiting for you to unlock its post-frost sweetness. Number 21. Pawpaw, the native custard apple that outlives generations. Back in the 1700s, when European settlers first tasted this beauty along the Ohio River valleys, they called it the Indiana banana, and folks like Daniel Boone foraged it on hunting trips because one tree could drop significant amounts of fruit a year once mature. The Iroquois dried it into cakes for their long hunts, while the Cherokee knew it as disunky, proof this was a staple providing vitamin C, riboflavin, and niacin, according to Kentucky State University nutritional breakdowns. Its twigs, bark, and leaves pack ananaceous acetogenins, compounds that affect cancer cells in lab studies, plus they kill head lice and fight malaria parasites. Here's the growing secret that separates the pros from folks who wait forever. Collect ripe wild fruit in fall. Scoop out those seeds and do cold, moist stratification by mixing fresh seeds with damp sand in a zip bag. Burying that in your fridge's crisper drawer at cold temperatures for 90 to 120 days, then plant them deep in leaf mold from under oak trees because pawpaws benefit from that fungal mycorrhizae network to kickstart root colonies fast. University extension trials show this improves first-year survival over sterile potting mix. Once you scoop out that pulp, you've got something store-bought can't touch. Nutrition with potassium, iron, zinc, magnesium, and phosphorus for bone health, all in a mild, creamy payoff that blends into smoothies or bakes into pies. Think of it as America's forgotten tropical treasure that's been waiting for you to rediscover what Daniel Boone knew all along. Here's what blows my mind about these 21 crops. Every single one of them was considered essential by our great-grandparents. Yet somehow we've been convinced that food security comes from the grocery store instead of our own backyards. If this opened your eyes to what's possible when you think like your ancestors, smash that like button. Drop a comment below and tell me which crop surprised you the most. Are you Team Ramps for that $20 per pound wild luxury? Team Sunchokes for the underground multiplication magic? Or Team Pawpaw for the native tropical treasure hiding in plain sight? Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I'm sharing these forgotten growing secrets every week that connect you back to real food security. Remember, sometimes the most powerful crops aren't in the seed catalogs or garden centers. Sometimes they're in your great-grandma's memory, just waiting for you to plant them once and eat free forever.